6 years. No charge, no nothing.
But that happens often. I mean,
people are going to have to make a decision. These are all false, to me. These are false accusations in certain cases.
All false accusations in certain cases. All right. Is the president going to change course? Nope. But it is certainly worthy of debate. And we have great debaters, Anna Navarro and Carrie Secerino. I got to be honest, Carrie, I couldn't follow him today. He was all over the place, the president, about this. Con job, he said like 1 million times. But then he said, I'm open to changing my mind tomorrow. Well, if it's a con job, why would you be open to changing your mind if you think something is a con that you say 27 times? Let's be honest. Do you think anybody in that room tomorrow is going to know what they're talking about? Do you think anybody has enough information to really know the truth or falsity of what's going to be presented before them?
I think one of the problems with these allegations is they are very vague. They go back more than 3 decades, and the attempts to corroborate them have all come up empty. That I think we'll have to look.
Come up empty or been insufficient?
Actually, her statements have been contradicted. So everyone she said was an eyewitness to this account actually says, I don't remember this party ever happening. Her friend Leland says, I don't think I even knew Brett Kavanaugh.
Does her husband contradict it?
Her husband just says she told me this 30 years after the fact.
Does the therapist say anything? Well, she was planning this 5 years in advance?
She has refused to release the records of the therapist, which is her right, but if you want to use them to corroborate yourself, you have to release them. Besides which, there's a real problem here where people are misunderstanding what it means to corroborate something. Corroboration is showing...
Help me.
It's showing evidence of something. You can look at physical evidence. It could be things like medical evidence from the time. Something, at the very least, even if it's hearsay, it could be hearsay. That would be kind of the lower level, but it has to at least be contemporaneous. To say 30 years later someone told me this, that's not corroboration. You know,
Depends on context.
That's no more.
But I hear you on that. But our larger point is this, Carrie, and now I'll bounce it to you, Anna. They don't know. This is not a fact-finding mission. We now know why the president said today, we should have done this 2 weeks ago. We know why Grassley and McConnell have been trying to move this along. There's another allegation every day. We don't know if it's true or false, but we've never seen anything like this about another nominee. Now, the right will say it's because the left values this position more than any other one ever. That's why they're doing this, and didn't do it to Gorsuch, even though these two guys went to the same school at the same time, and none of this came out about him. How do you see it, Anna?
Look, you asked, when you were questioning Carrie, you asked if there was going to be anybody in that room who knew the truth. There are going to be 2 people in that room who know the truth, Brett Kavanaugh and Dr. Blasey Ford. And, you know, unfortunately, we're probably never going to get a conclusive answer as to whether this was true or it was not. All we're going to have are both their testimonies. The American people are going to make an opinion, and there's going to be senators who are going to vote on what they want. What I like is for senators from both parties to go in there with open mind, open ears, and open hearts, to put ideology aside. You shouldn't be judging Kavanaugh on whether you agree with him on ideology or not. You should not be judging Kavanaugh on whether you want to support Donald Trump or not. You should not be a rubber stamp. You should be there listening, scrutinizing, you know, really paying attention and following your heart. Treat this woman like if she was your daughter or your wife or your sister, and treat Kavanaugh with the respect that he deserves. One of 2 things is going to happen. Either a woman who is a victim and is traumatized is going to not get her due, or a man who is innocent is going to have his reputation ruined, and perhaps even still then sit in the Supreme Court. That's why tomorrow is so important. And that's why I'm so disappointed the Republican Party, the Republican senators, this White House has not done more to do things like get the account of Mark Judge, get the account of Mark Judge's girlfriend, get as much information as possible. This is really important. It's a lifetime appointment to the highest court in the land. There will be issues about sexual assault that will come in front of that court. And I just don't think that they have done enough to really try to get to the bottom of it. They're going to pay a big price if they look like they're trying to ram through and plow through this investigation and this testimony tomorrow.
You know, Carrie, I mean, I'll give you the final point on this. You know, that's all I've argued all week is process. I don't know anything about Judge Kavanaugh, except, that which I've been able to pick up from reporting and his own accounts of himself and what we've seen in the allegations. But I don't know why they didn't take the time to give him the clearance that he obviously wants and say, look, we had the FBI do what they do. They're not going to give us a conclusion. That's not what they do. They're not even going to assess veracity. That's not what they do in these cases. This is not a criminal investigation. But here's what everybody said. It's all in one place and done professionally. And now we'll go through it all. Ramirez, Swetnick, Ford. Here's what we believe. Here's what we don't. Here's why. Here's the corroborators. Here are the corroborators that fell short. Think about how much more trust there'd be going into tomorrow if that had been done.
Right.
I first of all agree wholeheartedly. I want both sides to get a hearing. I have daughters and I have sons. I want them all to get a fair hearing and not go in prejudging it. However, the problem with not having a proper investigation is entirely on the shoulders of those who decided to shop these stories to the media rather than actually turning them over to the FBI in the first place, turn them over to the Senate Judiciary Committee. Then you could have actually had a more responsible investigation. You could have talked to witnesses separately, for example, before they all read about it in the papers first thing. That's how it should have done. That's how it was done during the Anita Hill hearings. That should have happened in this case. It didn't, so we're left picking up the pieces as best we can. The Senate Judiciary Committee is performing all of those interviews you talked about. The Democrats have only recently come to the table and even been participating at all. They have an opportunity to take some of this testimony and all of the women making allegations, even the most recent ones, even the ones that are almost discredited by the time they get to the committee. They've reached out to every single one of them. They've said, if you have evidence, please present it. And that's something that is proper. But look, you couldn't get them all in one place. You couldn't get them all in one place to do it because they come out a new day with ever more surprising ones. The fifth one you mentioned has already recanted. This is looking like it's another attempt at a circus here. So I hope we'll see tomorrow some respect given this, and then we have to just move forward and not allow the circus to continue.
Well, we didn't
But
have
here's
to.
the problem.
Last word, we gotta go.
If this were a Democrat appointee, if this was a Democrat nominee, and Republicans were running the Senate, I have no doubt they would have exerted every single effort to try to get to the truth. I have no doubt that they would have subpoenaed Mark Judge.
They've asked a lot of questions.
They're not. They are not. Listen, all these women have asked for an FBI investigation. The ex-girlfriend of Mark Judge has said she's willing to talk. They have not subpoenaed Mark Judge.
She can submit
They're doing a half-hearted attempt. They're doing the least amount possible to check the box and look like they did something because they want to get this vote through, and the American people are on to it.
Look, we'll see tomorrow.